It's called a money plane. Some of the baddest motherfuckers on the planet are on that plane, all craving action. Whatever you want to wager on, the money plane has you covered. You want to bet on a dude fucking an alligator? Money plane.
Money plane. Hey.
How many times did he say it in that clip?
I don't know, but he's going to say it again.
Money plane.
Everybody drink.
Yeah, everybody drink when he says money.
You would
plane.
probably die.
Yeah, this is an on-demand film that we skipped last week, but it kind of gained a little pop culture traction on the internet, so we decided to cover it. So, Cody, tell us what you thought of
Money plane.
Wow, man, having this live is just another dimension to this whole thing. And you're saving that, by the way, so we can use this in the future.
Oh yeah. No. Yeah. This is not the last you've heard of you haven't heard the last Money plane.
So yes, where to start? So this piece of cinema was I first heard about it by seeing a poster where you see the poster that says Money Plane and you're like, I wonder what that's about. And
Money plane.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it stars. If you look at the poster, it's got Kelsey Grammer, it's got Thomas Jane, and it's got Denise Richards, who are both in the movie for a collective 10 minutes, maybe between them, and the rest is spent with Adam Copeland. I refuse to call him Edge,
AKA the Edge.
WWE.
When you can't get when you know you can't get Dwayne Johnson, and you probably can't score John Cena, you go to the Edge.
You go to the Rated R Superstar, right?
Is that what it's?
That's his nickname. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Is that because he looks coked out all the time?
You mean with his giant bug eyes constantly? So Adam Copeland is not a subtle actor. I don't think he's bad, but man, he is just constantly bug-eyed, looking wide. It's weird. I don't understand it quite. So one thing that becomes clear as you watch Money Plane is that all of the budget went to Kelsey Grammer and Thomas Jane and Denise Richards, and nothing was spent on things like set design or production value or props or an actual plane or anything that resembled an actual plane.
No, you know what? I read I was going to save this, but there's an oral history of it already on The Ringer.
Oh, wow.
And it was a real plane.
How?
I don't know, but it was.
Is it like a
see that.
4-story plane?
The bathroom looked very realistic. And
it was a real plane. It was in New Orleans. They found a plane they could use. Anyway, go ahead,
wow.
Cody.
It's not hard to find a plane to.
Yeah, Jocelyn can get you a plane today, dude.
It's
like a fucking toe.
Easy.
It's like a toe.
So you watch that clip and you think, okay, so dude fucking alligators, this is what we're in for. And then you get onto the money plane and people are just playing blackjack and stuff. Like, it's just my favorite little small detail is when you walk in and they walk past the concierge desk, there's just a shitty lava lamp, just the worst set dressing of all time. It's just so stupid.
There's so many curtains.
The curtains. That they bought on Amazon.
Go ahead, Cody.
So the premise of the movie is that Adam Copeland has a team of robbers or thieves, I guess, and they go to do an art heist, and the art isn't there, and then it turns out that Kelsey Grammer, who plays the Rumble, as he's nicknamed, Darius Grouch the Third.
Darius Grouch.
Or the Colonel.
Or the Colonel.
Wait,
Colonel.
why?
He loves
so
nicknames.
Why was he called the Rumble?
I don't know.
Not, if his name, they're going to name the guy Grouch. Why don't they just call him Oscar? That's
or Groucho or something.
Yeah, fuck it. Anyway, Cody, go ahead.
Yeah, I feel like this is going to happen a few times during the course of this.
Sorry.
No, please interject. So basically, Darius Grouch III, the Rumble, takes Adam Copeland's debt and has him do a job, which they're going to take down the money plane, which the money plane is this, again, as you hear, anything goes thing. So he puts together a team and he gets Thomas Jane, who plays his best friend. and the godfather of his children.
It's like an old war buddy, right?
Yeah, like an old war buddy, which, by the way, Thomas Jane is phoning this thing in like you wouldn't believe. Like clearly pissed that he couldn't do it over Zoom, and he's there begrudgingly. Like, just a really terrible, like he's got like a pipe that he's fucking with the entire time.
By the way, that's in the oral history, he brought that pipe.
Of course he did.
Obviously. Yeah,
Of course he did. And so you have in a really terrible performance there. He's just not committed at all. Kelsey Grammer, to his credit, is perhaps too committed. I think maybe. But so once you get into the plane, they try to find. I don't know what's going on. It's something to do with cryptocurrency, but yet there's also cash on the plane. Doesn't make sense. And then you get into this game. So he's got this partner. This joke never landed for the McGillicuddy joke. It's just such a weird thing.
Yeah,
like they keep on making this luck of the Irish joke and something like that with a guy who's probably not Irish. But then you start to see like what's actually happening on the the debauchery of the money plane, which leads to some really dumb stuff. Especially when Mr. McGillicuddy gets stuck into some games that he never quite seems to understand what he's getting into, yet he's constantly getting into it. Like he's like, yeah, I'll play this game, and then it's a game of Russian roulette, and he's like, he doesn't even notice or try to back out of it at all. And that whole Russian roulette scene, by the way, plays like a terrible comedy scene. The tone of it is weird as hell.
So we should add, before we go any further, this is a Lawrence Brothers production.
Oh, I had that in my notes. A Lawrence Brothers vehicle is
yes.
what I...
So if you don't know the Lawrence Brothers, that would be Joey of Blossom fame, Matthew, who
Matthew.
Of Boy Meets World, and Mrs. Doubtfire, who also had a tiny appearance in our last documentary, and Andrew, the youngest, and they were part of. They were all three on a show at one point.
Brotherly Love.
That's what it was called. Yes, Andrew Lawrence directs this. The youngest Lawrence brother directs this and has a small role.
And bless their hearts, they were there to support their brother. You know.
And the cowboy that Cody's talking about that played Russian roulette is Matthew Lawrence, and he is chewing the fucking scenery. And I again, I'm gonna go back to this oral history thing again because that oral history totally changed my mind on this movie. That part was originally supposed to be played by Tom Arnold.
Oh, wow.
Scheduling fell through, so Matthew Lawrence was like, I'll just do it. And they threw a fake mustache on. But I think Matthew Lawrence is funny.
Yeah. I mean, the whole character, the whole part, you know, but man, Tom Arnold would have been great.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'll wrap up here.
No. Keep going.
There's a few things about it that I think are unintentionally hilarious. The music is so bad, and like the musical cues in particular are so fucking like there's one scene where I think it's the scene where Edge and Kelsey Grammer are Adam Copeland and Kelsey Grammer are like talking about a plan, and like you hear this dramatic music, and then Kelsey Grammer says something about his wife and kids, and it just turns into this maudlin, sappy, like on an instant, like it just goes like that. It has some of the worst choreographed fight scenes you'll ever see. There's a scene where where Edge fights a guy in a cockpit where nobody can move, clearly. It's so poorly edited. And then the and apparently the guy's just incapacitated for hours on end. Eventually when they leave the money plane, they just leave it. There's no pilots left.
Yeah, that's true. Who was flying the plane?
Yeah. It was on. He said it was on autopilot.
Okay, I wondered. I was waiting for them to say that because I was like, I bet they're gonna use autopilot.
Yeah.
As a cover, you know.
There's also a girl in their team who is. I'm so sorry to bash this woman because I don't know her name or anything else about her, but it's just a really bad miscast, I think, where like she's like 4'5" and playing like this really badass woman who gets into fights with people, but also has this weird seduction element that feels really out of place. And then at one scene, there's a fight scene where she, where it's also poorly edited, where she rips a guy's ears off, and it's playing to what can only be described as the best royalty-free music they could possibly find.
Yeah.
So, look, this movie it's bad. It's not unwatchably bad. It's also not like super fun bad. I laughed out loud multiple times at how shitty it was. But at the end of the day, it's just a very bad movie.
Money plane.
All right, Jocelyn, what did you think?
Well, I like that Cody said before we get on the money plane, because I'm going to start using that. Like, get on the money plane as like get on board with what we're doing. Just get on the money plane. Yeah, there's so much to be bothered by in this movie, and top of my list was Edge's face. It's
That's mean.
It's not necessarily that his face, there's something wrong with his face. It's just the acting, like Cody said, it's like so very unsubtle. Like his eyes are constantly bugged. Like he looks like he is just on lots of drugs.
To be fair, I think that's one of his like quirks as a person, like as a wrestler too.
Well,
Like,
it bothered me.
I don't think he's acting with his eyes bugged. I think he just has bug eyes.
You know what? If I'm staring at your face for an hour and a half and it's bothersome, then that's gonna be an unpleasant time. Not just that, the costumes and the set, as Cody was saying, the sets are incredibly cheap. I mean, that first scene when they're going through like the metal detectors, I swear to God, it was like they were using cardboard boxes. Like it might as well have been. And it's the extras are horrible. Like it's just so clearly a low budget movie. But then at least you have these bad movies, and then you have like good bad movies. And this was not one of those good bad movies. This was just bad movie, because it's not even that fun. Even the crazy bets that McGillicuddy was getting into, like they weren't clearly defined. Like Kelsey Grammer said, like, you want to bet on a guy fucking an alligator? Like that's never entered into in the
Doesn't happen, by the way.
It doesn't happen.
Spoiler alert.
But then there's like a part where a guy is like, they say like it's like a guy against a cobra, and you never see the cobra. Did y'all notice that?
They couldn't afford the cobra.
Of course they couldn't, but I would imagine like they could have gotten like a sock, like that would have been at least creative. I would have liked to see them try to show that there was some cobra involved. And then the one where he was in a tank and I think there was supposed to be an alligator, but then also
piranhas.
His skin burned off. Okay, it was
No, it was piranhas.
Thank
And
you.
how fast they were betting on how fast it would, how long it would
Yes.
take for the piranhas to eat him to the bone.
Oh, well, that makes more sense, because I thought maybe I missed something and it was like a vat of acid that he was supposed to be.
It's not a movie
but
logic problem, Jocelyn. That's a you problem.
That was, I was trying to keep up with this, like, increasingly dense plot that this perfect movie.
It's a
but
thinker.
It was so bad. I think that's all I have one last thing that really tickled me. The painting at the end.
It's literally, oh my, that's like a shot in this movie is like
It was such a gift. I loved that so much. It was like a stick figure with like the
like
middle
flick-
fingers
yeah.
up. Like, and that was like them like sticking it to the man at the end. So that was just something else I wanted to mention that I really enjoyed.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to mention again that I this oral history that is on theringer.com.
Gonna pull it up now.
About Money Plane and the kind of how it came to be. And I just want to mention we're talking about Kelsey Grammer clearly having a blast, I would say. And the first quote from him as to how he ended up in the movie, he says, quote, "The film crossed my desk with an offer, and it seemed like a fun, mustache-twirling kind of character that would not change my life, certainly, but put me in a sandbox with a new actor I like, Adam Copeland. That is usually one of the things I respond to in this job, new people. I also quite like Thomas Jane, and it was nice to work with him again." Now, I'm not gonna say that Kelsey Grammer doesn't know who the fuck Adam Copeland is, but I'm pretty sure he doesn't know who Adam Copeland is. And also, he and Thomas Jane share no screen time at all. So, I would assume they were both there for an hour on separate days. So I don't really know how accurate that is. But hey, you know what? He's playing the game, and he's talking.
By the way, there's like 5 pieces of content about Money playing on The Ringer right now.
Oh, I know. Yeah,
5 articles.
Yeah. It's got that like kind of bad movie zeitgeist thing going on right now, and I do wish it were more fun. But I think after reading about it on The Ringer and knowing what went into it, it's pretty self-aware bad. And I don't think it's too self-aware bad, if that makes sense. Like there's a lot of comparisons I've seen to Snakes on a Plane, which is just sort of not good. You think it's going to be better, and it's not. But this is clearly cheap and clearly kind of thrown together. And I mentioned this to Cody. I was like, the Lawrence brothers, they're not hacks, but they're in this really hacky thing. But I think it's just like they wanted to make this movie, and they found someone who could, and it was this low budget shit producer. So they said, fuck it, let's do it. And they said they shot on a real plane in New Orleans, and I think they shot some in Bosnia too. And then clearly clearly the warehouse, or whatever that art museum is just a shitty warehouse at the beginning. And the curtains in the check-in for the Money Plane by the way, at Money Plane Terminal, which appears to just be like a major airport where this highly illegal flight is leaving from. It doesn't quite get to the campiness I think it needs to. I think it gets close when the McGillicuddy character starts like watching those crazy things happen. I think that's where the real promise of this thing kind of comes to light. But The Edge, Adam Copeland.
Thank you.
The new thespian Adam Copeland.
I'll take Adam Edge Copeland as well.
Adam the Edge Copeland.
I don't think it's The Edge. No, I think it's just Edge.
It's just Edge.
Is it? Oh, I'm thinking of U2.
U2.
Sorry.
Yeah, Adam Copeland is just Edge.
Edge. Shit. So it has this WWE actor, WWE professional wrestler in the lead, and he spends most of his time sitting in a fucking cockpit. Like, why is he not the one beating everyone up? Like, isn't that what we came for?
Like he gets in the one fight in the cockpit, which is just him like slamming the guy's head against the cockpit.
Which if you read that Ringer piece again, that guy really started bleeding.
Of course he did.
So yeah, there's a lot to this movie that's bad, but I do think ultimately it's decently watchable for being a bad movie. I do wish it were a better bad movie, like it were a little more batshit. Because the Kelsey Grammer stuff is pretty batshit. Like the stuff he's saying is insane, and that he sort of ends up playing, and I've seen this a bunch of places, sort of a Scarface / Sideshow Bob mixture, is pretty interesting to see. I think the movie sort of, wastes a lot of time. It's only an hour and 22 minutes, and it still feels like it's wasting time, just sort of dragging its feet at certain points. Because, like, the first thing they do on this debaucherous Money Plane is just play regular old Texas Hold'em.
Texas Hold'em. Yeah, what a missed opportunity.
Yeah. Anyway, let's go to grades. Cody, what did you think of
Money Plane?
Well, thank you, Mr. Grouch. I have to say, I was talking to you, by the way, not Kelsey Grammer.
Aww. Mean.
I'm sorry, Jocelyn's been being mean to everyone. I thought I could do it too.
Jocelyn was giving us shit about like not liking this documentary, and she's making fun of Adam Copeland's eyes.
Yeah. No, just his fucked up face, I guess.
Yeah, sorry.
Look, there's no way to slice or dice this. It's a bad movie. I like you were saying, Jerrod, I do wish that it leaned into its craziness just a little bit more. And I think that if it's self-aware, I think it could have afforded to be maybe a little bit more clearly self-aware, because you can't really tell if they're in on the joke. I don't think just on the surface. You would hope so, but you don't know.
I think they by the time Joey Lawrence shows up, I think they are, and then the character the guy who's calling all of it, who was in The Sopranos. I don't know what his name is. It's like he played Mikey Palmise in the first season. But yeah,
he's kind of like Joey's strong arm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty evident that it's a big gag, but I know what you mean.
Yeah. So yeah, I can't, when you're scoring this on the bad movie curve is a tough one, because you always have to judge based on how bad the movie is, but also, does it deserve like a point higher because it's entertaining or whatever. So ultimately what I landed on was a D+.
Damn. Wow. Okay. Jocelyn.
Oh no. I honestly was sitting here thinking, like, how do you grade a movie like this? But I think there could have been more creativity in the debauchery element to it. I think that's really what this movie is selling, is that, you're going to go on this money plane and they're going to bet on some crazy things. And it was really
you wanted to see the guy fucking the alligator.
No, but I just think that they
It's okay. It's okay to say you did.
It's like, okay, when you watch Snakes on a Plane, it delivers. This didn't really deliver the one thing that it was saying that it's.
To be fair, the movie's not called Guy Fucking an Alligator on a Plane.
Get off of that, because that's not what I want to see, okay?
I do remember a snake biting a woman on the nipple in Snakes on a Plane. and I do believe that is, I don't know who the woman is, but the actor in the scene, like, she's having sex in the bathroom, and I believe it's Taylor Kitsch from Friday Night Lights.
No, he was on Snakes on a Plane?
Oh, yeah.
Man, he's yeah. Anyway, okay, you learn something new every day. I know, I don't want to see just like blatant debauchery, but I think, like I said, that they could have been more creative in like the things that were happening. I was a little, interested in like the Russian roulette elements, and then when they were going through the betting, but that was like really few and far between, and that was just not the gist of this movie or the meat of it. So other than that, I think I'm gonna go with a D+ as well.
Damn, you are harsh. Like I mentioned, I kind of had my mind changed by reading that it is more self-aware than maybe it lets on. I do wish it were, more blatantly self-aware, and I think it could have really benefited from that, from a few more winks to the audience, or anything other than Kelsey Grammer and Thomas Jane sort of being a wink to the audience. I think Kelsey Grammer is winking the entire time to the audience. I think Thomas Jane knows he's in a piece of shit and is acting accordingly. And I gotta say, like, there's a scene where he's piloting a drone that's shooting a handgun.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Which I thought was great. I thought it was just great.
I forgot about that.
So I'm gonna say, like, to be part of this, this is in times like these, this is kind of one of the things we need to rally behind, I think.
Oh boy, I'm afraid from what's about to happen right now.
No, I'm gonna give it a B-.
Whoa!
Because I think it's entertaining enough. And there's enough ancillary crap. Like, I mean, shit, like you said, there's 5 stories on the fucking Ringer about it right now. And they fucking produced Showbiz Kids, and they aren't talking about that shit. That's a Ringer film. And they're talking about goddamn Money Plane more than they're talking about that. So, look, watch it, read about it, enjoy it, talk to your friends about it. B- for me.